"Bah!" I'm like Henry Winkler, dude. "Bah!
Oh.
Bah! Bah!" Ugh.
Oh.
No,
You wanna talk
all
about
right.
a good Scream film then? Is that what you wanna talk about? Scream 1?
So, I don't know if you guys saw the movie right away like we did, you probably skipped our non-spoiler video that came out with this video. But if you already watched that one and maybe you had to wait a little bit to see the film and now you're back, it was so hard. It's so hard to talk
Very
about a
hard.
Scream
Yeah.
film and giving any detail because like it's a house of cards, man. You don't want to be
Mhm.
like, well, I really fucking don't like this character because they were at I I don't want to do any of that because there's so many theories out there that if we allude to any character, it's going to debunk that one. It's going to debunk that
Yeah.
one. It's going to debunk that. So we basically just kind of had to say our overall general thoughts on the film, our experience watching the film, where we ranked the film, and in general, what we liked and disliked about it. But not on this one. On this one, we're going to spoil the hell out of it. So again, if you've not seen the film and you don't want it spoiled, don't watch this video.
Yes,
You've
turn
been
it
warned.
off.
Um, okay, so a lot of a lot of hoopla going on with Scream 7 leading up and a lot of theories. And we had some of our own if you guys have been watching some of our streams. The little theories we had, they more or less didn't come true, but the overall idea that Stu is fucking dead did. It
Yeah.
that I not once was I really thinking Stu was alive because I've said it every fucking day this month. They made it way too obvious in the trailer that Stu was alive. Like, there's no way he's alive.
Yeah.
And you know what? It shocks me that we actually didn't think about because we knew there was all these other people in the film like Scott Foley and even Laurie Metcalf showed up.
Mhm.
I'm surprised I didn't hear anybody else mention AI. Like, that's how you get all these people in there.
Yeah, yeah.
AI, because 'cause we're thinking, like, visions and shit like that. You know, if we played with the notion that, okay, if they're gonna give fans what they want and Stu really is in this, he can't be the killer, or he's gotta be, like, some kind of red herring, maybe pulling the strings or whatever. But I always thought the most realistic thing is, no, he's fucking dead. And that's one thing I'm gonna say I did like about the film is they make fun of that. Like, by we're not gonna jump that ahead, but by the end of the film, it's like, "What? You thought it was Stu? Yeah, that'd be fucking stupid."
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, "Yeah." That once again, Scream is making fun of the fans kind of and lampooning all that stuff. Um, but go ahead.
No, I
W
mean, I don't think they sold it very well though, the
No,
whole
no.
Stu thing.
So, well, let's just take it from the top. So, the intro scene's cool.
Yes, I give it that, yeah.
We have the girl who plays Billy Bob Thornton's daughter on Landman. I think she's great. She's smoking hot too.
Mhm,
She arrives at Stu Macher's house with her boyfriend, which we now find out is an Airbnb.
mhm.
Somebody bought it under Amber's family in the last couple of years because those 5 and 6 are not that old. It's crazy. And he's logging in with the code and they've made it a whole Scream experience. I like that a lot because
Yeah, no, it's very cool.
that's 100%
Mhm.
what people do to those homes.
Yeah.
And I like how it was like a shrine, the stab movies. I love how they had like the tape on the ground for the
Mhm.
bodies. And I like how obsessed he was again. Like, oh, this is where Amber got torched, and here's where Billy got, the umbrella. And I thought that was all cool. I thought the attention to detail, like in one of the living side rooms, they have like little placards that kind of, just like you would in a
Oh,
museum.
absolutely, yeah,
I
yeah.
thought it was
Very
cool. And
cool.
I did even though like after the jump scare happened, I knew it was one of those animatronics. I still like that when
Mhm.
she goes in the room, "Ah!" That initial jump scare did like it did the trick, but then you obviously know it's like they're not there's not a killer there right now.
Yeah.
But I thought that was a nice touch, and I'm thinking, who in their right mind would really put this in the stab? Because that would give somebody I would shit myself.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Shit yourself if they really put that in there.
Mhm.
Um, and, I like the way it all played out. I like it they faked you out a couple of times where she's getting the call. I love the guy calling, doing the questions, like the experience, and,
Yeah, yeah, they're
that
ask you're they're asking their favorite horror films, some trivia and stuff like that, and then they move into, some of the kills and stuff. The kills are really cool in this first, scene, I think.
but we get faked out, right? So he gets the call by the people putting on the event. And, you know, it's a guy putting on like a phony baloney Ghostface voice. It's all fun. It's painting the scene pretty cool. And then the boyfriend has to go take a piss. And that's where we get a call from real Ghostface. But it's,
Mhm.
you know, once again, they kind of duped us. It's just the boyfriend. He comes out and tries to, a fucking idiot comes
Mhm.
out, you know, trying to scare her. And we think that's Ghostface. She like knocks the fuck out of him. I'm like, "You're a dumbass, dude."
Yeah.
But then we get the real Ghostface, and the whole time I'm thinking like, I love the animatronic. There's a second one on the floor, and then I love that almost it's like a throwback to Halloween where Michael emerges from the shadows. When she's in that living area, I love when the boyfriend is in the shadows. Where he's like, you kind of
Oh,
see
yeah.
him like coming in and coming out. I thought that was a cool touch. But yeah, it turns out the other animatronic down there was really a ghost face, and uh, that I liked. I thought it was cool how it was just really sudden. Like I just saw it move. Like and
Yeah,
he goes, it's like,
that was pretty
ah!
interesting, yeah.
And
He gets stabbed in the head, which I thought was cool.
yeah, I like the whole thing. I just think the the setup from this scene built it up like the movie was going to be so much more meaningful, and it really was pretty meaningless.
Yes.
So, and then this Ghostface torches the house and he sets it on fire.
Well, and she's hanging from the chandelier, and then she falls onto the knife, which I thought was a really cool kill.
Yeah,
Um,
no, that was
and
cool.
then he burned her up, which is pretty cool too, so
But I'm saying like when they were, it's almost like they did that just for the marketing.
Oh, I'm sure,
Like
yeah.
let's have him burn the house down because that says it's personal.
Mm.
And then they kind of get into that at the end, but I don't think whatever the theme of this movie was, they don't really sell it like other movies. Like we know what the theme is. They sell the requel theme in 5 really well. They're constantly beating it over your head, and they sell the theme of a sequel in 2 really well. They're constantly beating it over your head, like the rules of a sequel. Same thing with the trilogy. Same thing with a reboot and 4. All this stuff. By the time we get to the end of this movie, I'm going to go back to where we were in a second. They kind of like, well, it's all about nostalgia. That's why you had to bring Stu back. I'm like, what? Like they just kind of inject that at the
And
end.
just
Like,
AI and nostalgia
like there's,
and stuff,
but there's
yeah.
never been, but that was not an overlying theme of the movie at all.
Mhm.
And but anyway, so that happens. Stu's house burns down, and then we're no longer in Woodsboro. We go to Sydney's new hometown, and that's where our movie's going to take place, which I do dig. I'm glad it wasn't in Woodsboro. It's a different setting, and we're introduced to Sydney's daughter,
Tatum.
who Tatum, named after Rose McGowan's character,
Mhm.
and we're introduced immediately to the Billy. And coming through her bedroom, and once again, people are obsessed with quoting fucking Stab, and you know,
Yeah,
watching Stab, doing a whole thing. And
yeah.
by the way, I love how all the stuff they memorized from Stab is 100% what happened in Scream, which tells you that Sydney had a big hand in the writing of Stab because that means she had to have told him, yeah, when Billy was in my room, he's like, I got to thinking about you. The Exorcist was on. He did this thing
Yeah.
with his fingers. You
Mhm.
know, it's like a little bit like, all right,
Which the
whatever.
boyfriend I thought was not great
Yeah,
at
they
all.
kept trying like in every Scream movie, they try and make every character a red herring. They do little things that make every character suspicious. And we'll get to his thing, and I think he had some holes. I didn't like what they did with him. But anyway, before we get there, Sydney catches the daughter with the boyfriend, she's been there, done that, and kicks him out. And of course, we established the kind of rift between her and her daughter. Like,
Mhm.
"You're a hypocrite." Like, hypocrite? She was 16 when she had a boy in. That boy fucking
Yeah,
killed her and killed all her friends.
yeah.
Like, there's no hypocrisy there. Like, she's living and learning and whatever.
For not
But
knowing anything about her mom, I mean, how does she know about her sex life?
well, yeah, I kinda like because 'cause she'd seen Stab.
Oh, she probably read the book too, yeah,
Yeah,
okay, yeah.
that's what Sydney says. I kinda like that aspect that Sydney knows, like, she knows nothing because that's the way my dad was. I
Mm,
literally knew nothing about it. He never talked about his childhood
mhm,
and some of the traumatic shit, never did. But she said she watched Stab, and she's like, "Did it really happen like that?" That's where it came from.
mm,
Like, and she's basically said, "Look, there's movies out there, there's books, you can go on a deep dive anytime you want," but she doesn't wanna talk about it or go into any further details. I kinda dig all that, I don't have a problem with that. And then what I found was weird is after Sydney walks the boyfriend out the front door. She goes to bed and the dad's just in bed. Like, why is the dad not the one?
I that's what I was
Wasn't
wondering
that
too.
weird?
I
I
didn't
fe
even know she's married. I was like,
I
"Okay."
I figured yeah, I knew she had a husband in this movie. I figured he must've been working late because there's no way that dad's not breaking this shit up.
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
Uh, and then the boyfriend's just nonchalantly, like, walking out the door talking, "I'm not a bad guy." If I knew the fucking dad was there, I'm creeping my ass through that,
Oh,
what
yeah.
and the cop?
Yeah.
It makes no sense. And she just goes back and she's like, "Huh, so how'd that go over? You think she's having sex?" Like, dude, I mean, that was weird to me. I'm like, you're not like any dad I've ever known. Because I mean, like, dude, I would have been like, "Oh, no, honey, I got this.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh
fucking going
god,
in the
yeah,
room."
dude. Your daughter? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that was a little she's got real cool parents, that's all I gotta say. Um,
Yeah.
and then we established that, Sydney, I'm gonna guess, yeah, owns a coffee shop, and she owns it or work that the blonde chick, spoiler, who's the killer, which by the way,
Anna
there
Camp?
is that her name?
Yeah, she's a
Who
terrible fucking killer, dude.
who is Anna Camp?
She's in all those, like, what movies? Let me, Pitch Perfect, The Help, like, she's, like, the blonde, bimbo in a lot of these
Okay.
films.
Well, anyway, there are 2 moments in here that gave away the killers for me instantly, but we'll
Mhm.
get there. So we're introduced to her and her son's like a big red herring because he's obsessed with Sydney. He wants to start a podcast and blah blah.
Yeah.
The red herrings are a little too obvious now. It's like, okay, clearly they're making everybody like really
Mhm.
obviously the killer. They're not all the killers. I didn't think they were gonna do the boyfriend thing again. I'm like, they can't do the boyfriend thing again. But anyway, so right out the gate, like Sydney's at work. We're like 15 fucking minutes of this movie, and then she gets a call, and he's like, "Oh, I'm not hiding this time." And then Stu just hacks in, and it's Stu, and it's
Yeah.
like, okay. From granted, it didn't last long after that before they dropped the whole AI thing, so it wasn't like supposed to be a twist. But the second he popped up on a screen in 15 minutes, I'm like,
Cheesy, dude.
but I'm like, this is obviously there's something not kosher here. This is AI. I'm like,
Yeah.
are they fucking doing
Yeah.
this?
Yeah.
They're gonna do AI Stu. I'm like, and at first I'm like, I was trying to give it a little bit of grace, like, all right, I guess this is kind of realistic. Like, 'cause I'm thinking we're 7 movies deep. What else are they gonna do at this point? Right? At least because we've been talking about AI when they pulled that fucking voice changer shit in 3 that we
Yeah.
never went. I'm like, okay, this is so far fetched in the year 2000, but today that exists with AI. And it's like now we do have AI, like fuck. And so they were doing that here. Now, the thing I don't like is the boyfriend who is obviously going to be like the biggest red herring. It's always the boyfriend. You know, he Sydney doesn't like him because he's studying computer science and knows all about this stuff. All right. Um,
Doesn't mean you know AI, you study computer science. I guarantee you that.
well, I think the movie and Kevin Williamson wants you to think that's good enough.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
think
yeah.
but when they're at the bar a little bit later, when they've reconvened and they're showing him the video, and he's all like, "Oh yeah, there's consistency in the pixelation. Like this looks real." I'm like, this guy sucks
Yeah.
because that's like a fake lead. Like,
Mm.
oh, well, of
Yeah.
course, maybe he's the killer
Oh,
because
yeah.
he would take them off the path by saying, "Nope, this is legit."
Yep.
But he really just sucks and he doesn't know what he's fucking talking
He's a
about.
shitty
Like,
actor, dude.
but I mean, you know what I mean? Like, oh, he just wasn't good at his like chosen path.
Mhm.
Because if he was, he would say, "Oh no, it's definitely AI."
Yeah.
And there you go.
Mhm.
So I thought he was a bad red herring
Well,
and a
it's
little
funny
messy.
because all they need to do is send that video into, like, some sort of, like, Chat GPT or Grok, and it'll tell you if it's AI or not.
Yeah,
So, why do they need to go to the computer science guy to figure out, "Oh, it's AI."
yeah, it's you sound like Super Dave Osborne or Louis, dude. All right.
"Alright."
Louis Anderson should have been the killer, dude.
Yeah.
But anyway, from here, and her daughter's like into theater, and she just now learns that she acted too. That's how little she knows about her, which is fine. That's believable enough, dude. I'm telling you, my dad was like this,
Mm.
so I'm like, all right. Um, what I don't like is I think wasn't 6 like this too? All the people introduced in this movie died, but none of the returning characters. None of the
Yeah.
returning characters because we have the twins.
Mhm.
They come back, and this time, they're with Gale, which I'm jumping ahead a little bit again, but none of those guys died. Sydney didn't die, the twins didn't die, Gale doesn't die, um, and actually Mark doesn't die, but all the friends die, like, all these new people
Yeah,
die,
yeah.
and I kinda hate when they do that. It's like, "You pussies, like, raise some stakes, kill one of the twins or something." Like,
Well, speaking
why
of
are
that, they had no business being in this fucking movie, the Meek twins.
they were they were they were shoehorned
Garbage,
they were shoehorned in, and
which
they
I
they felt
like them, but not in this film. This film, they're so out of place. It's not
they
even
felt like they had to, like, thread this movie to the last 2 somehow.
ugh.
So, basically, well, this is how they were introduced. So, the early parts of the film, the intro and, the Ghostface in the house, like, you see the stuff in the trailer with them going to the escape room and in the wall and all the stabbing,
Mhm.
all that stuff is great. That guy turns out to just be a fucking wino, a crazy fucking dude, and this is where they kind of subvert expectations a little bit because we're like 30 minutes into the movie and they rough him up and they're the cops beating the shit out of him in the yard, and which I kind of liked all that where the cop was putting up a fight and kind of beat the shit out of him a little bit. All that stuff was good. I like that whole
Yeah,
scene.
yeah.
And then like Gail fucking runs him over out
Out
of
of
nowhere.
nowhere, she comes into the movie, and she runs him over with her car.
But it's funny. I like
Stupid, dude.
it was a funny laugh and they were trying to like, it was throwing a wrench in it. Because in this one, it's like, oh, we have three killers, just not the way you think, where it's like they're all revealed. One of them was like a stoop that was doing stuff early. So that's where they kind of break tradition a little bit. But yeah, Gail runs them over and everybody did a big laugh. And and they're doing the whole thing about like, well, let's find out who this guy is, like a Scooby-Doo moment. Take the mask off.
Yeah.
And it's the guy that this guy had a run in. He came into the coffee shop earlier when we established that's where Sydney worked, and he was just this weird guy that got a cup of coffee and gave a weird look. Clearly, he was gonna mean something, right?
Turns out he's
But
from the insane asylum.
well, that's where we're getting to, but
Yeah.
yeah, so, eh, Courtney Cox is there, she runs him over, and the Meeks come out, and they've become like her apprentices.
Mhm.
So they decided
Or Kenny the cameraman.
they wanna be in the action news biz, and, the girl wants to be better than Gail. They keep having those little jabs, and they're like, "Oh, she's not here, let me go and just go live," or whatever. She
Yeah.
wants to be the next Gail.
Mindy will be the
So
next Gale, yeah.
but that's I don't know. She does a little bit of the Mindyism. There's like one scene where she's like, "Oh, I got my eyes on you. You're the killer." And they make fun of her a little bit, like you're always wrong because she is. That is kind of funny about her
Yeah.
character is she was never right.
But I
Um,
like her character, but I hated her in this. It's just I don't
and
know.
I but they kind of they they didn't need to be in this movie
No.
because they didn't really serve a lot of purpose and they kind of slept through the movie. The only time they're really in it is in the bar scene and they both get cut up a little bit and then you never see them again to the very end of the movie.
Eh,
That's it. You never see them again.
well, yeah,
So
I
it's
mean,
like
the
and
Meek twins don't need to be in it, neither does Gale, because
but
yeah.
But the Meat Twins, they serve no purpose because I know they're, like, keeping an eye. They're going with the friends, they're going to the bar, and they're like, "Yeah, they think it's one of you guys, but I don't." Yeah, they're there, like, trying to piece it together because 'cause they're like, "Hey, let's be little Nancy Drews and
Sleuths,
figure this
yeah.
out." But they don't ever get any information that helps move the plot along. It's not like they get some intel and phone up Nev Campbell and it leads to this or that. Literally nothing comes from their existence in this film. That's it.
Mhm.
So I it's just nothing but a thread to keep something connected to the previous 2 movies in which they had to abort the trilogy they planned. That's it. And in fact, nobody mentioned Sam or her sister,
Yeah.
which, I kinda thought they were gonna have, like, a throwaway line. The only time they mentioned her was, when I think they were trying to deduce the killer, and she's like, "Well, fucking I've heard I've heard stranger shit, Billy had a fucking illegitimate daughter."
Yeah,
They
yeah,
mentioned her kinda like that, but, like, that was their BFFs. I thought they would, like, just have some kinda throwaway line.
yeah.
Um, but whatever, I mean, it's just as good that they just kind of whatever. They didn't show up, by the way. We're kinda hoping for, like, a weird twist, and they
I
showed up.
was, yeah,
Uh,
absolutely. But yeah,
but even
the Meek twins didn't need to be in it at all.
but even when Gail just shows up because it's just another thing where, "Oh, I heard. I came as soon as I could," and
Yes.
she's trying to rebrand herself as like going back to the action news biz, not like a talk show host, not an author, and she's trying to be that person again. Once again, there's 0 growth here, and,
You
yeah,
think she'd be hitting retirement by this point, wouldn't you,
she
Gail?
looks like fucking Skeletor. She needs to retire.
You know,
She needs to go
I
to sleep.
Well, she gets her interview with Sydney. My
You know
interview.
but you know what's funny is, to my knowledge, correct me if I'm wrong, she doesn't see any quote unquote "action" with Ghostface.
No. Mm-mm.
I don't think she encounters
No.
anybody, which, I mean, I guess that was an easy role for her. She has to do no
Well, that's
action
what I was
or
talking about my wife. I mean, because she was in it for a while, and then towards the end, like, the ending scene, like, Gail just hangs out in the
disappears.
newsroom and
Yeah.
stays there.
But
It's
as
like, "What
but as
the
soon
hell are
as
you
Gale
doing?"
as soon as Gale kills the first Ghostface, which I don't even know his name, like
Yeah.
fucking Chuck, I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, Sydney has already seen the stew, and she's all like, "So no, 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 I got calls from Stu. Is he deep fake?
Mhm.
What's going on, Stu? And those Stu's dead." And like that is one thing I will say I do like about it. They 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 couldn't help but acknowledge the crazy theories about Stu being alive. I do like that. They do like to lampoon. That's another way of lampooning the horror movies. They were lampooning fandom. And it's just like, and then real life, people have been going on about Stu Macher being alive, and it's been the stupidest shit I've ever heard in my life. And they keep making those jabs at the fandom, and but they try and trick you as if like, well, maybe he is alive. Oh, he faked his death. Oh, the I didn't fall for that for 1 second. They go to the psych ward like fucking Pet Cemetery. It's a
Yeah.
pet Ace Ventura of Pet Detective. I was like, they go to the
Ace
psych ward,
Ventura. Yeah.
and the second I saw Ethan Embry,
Yeah, you know who it was.
yeah, because he progresses the story. He's the one that fuels the fucking, "Oh, that's John Doe." I'm
Mhm.
like, "No, not for a second did I think Stu was alive, but, oh, this guy's fucking behind it because he's telling them, 'Oh, yeah, that's John Doe,' leading them down that phony Stu
Well,
path
even if it was John Doe, how would you not know that's Stu Macher?
if he's that famous." And
Yes, I mean,
also,
his face isn't that messed up where you can't tell who he is.
oh, yeah, he did good. Like, a fucking zenith, a 45-inch zenith fell on your fucking face, and you got a couple of fucking nicks. I got worse acne scars, motherfucker. That's bullshit. No, but what I hate
Uh,
about this is Gail is supposed to be a good reporter. Why not follow up on what that fucker's telling you? Because all it would have taken is
mhm.
asking somebody else at the hospital, "Hey, is this true?" And the whole story would have been derailed. Like, no, that guy's fucking what? No.
He's nuts, yeah.
What the fuck? No, there's nobody because they just believe this guy.
Yeah.
And but I knew right away, I'm like, okay, this is killer number one
Well,
or
we
two.
we've talked about it. I mean, we said he's in the movie, he's one of the killers. We said that
Well,
more,
yeah, Ethan Embry being in it was too fucking weird.
but,
Uh,
I wouldn't mind him being a killer, but the fact is that the role he played as Ethan Embry, he wasn't, like, menacing, he wasn't, like he was the dumb goof,
He had
sidekick.
no real motives
Yeah,
by the time we
yeah.
get to the end of it. But anyway, total dead giveaway that he was part of it. Like, you just led them down this fucking track. You're
Mhm,
clearly, you're I from that point on, it's like my original theory was Stu pulling the string if he was alive. That was him. Like, him
mhm.
kind of twisting the crazy guy in there
Yeah.
and getting him to do the bidding. Okay, kind of adjacent, correct, with that stuff, but I knew he was killer number 2 technically. And we have a scene where the cop, Joel McHale, is they're getting their house renovated, and we have like that Murtaugh scene where there's like fucking, all the plastic everywhere, and remember like the nail gun through the
Yep.
plastic. Okay, that was given away. That whole scene's in the trailer, and I hated it. But like I thought, he didn't actually die, so it's like, oh, we're spoiling it, but not really spoiling it,
Mhm,
because they really do make you think like they killed him, but they didn't. Um, but after that, the moment in which they gave away killer number 2 is, towards the once the cop gets stabbed and, Ghostface kills the kids because they go to, Sydney's daughter's school and they kill McKenna
mhm.
Grace. She's hanging from the
That was a
the
cool
zip
death, I thought.
the zip cords and shit like
Mhm.
that, and they kill Aaron the camera the Aaron the whatever they
Off-screen kill, yeah.
the stagehand,
Mhm.
whatever. I was kinda hoping Aaron, the stagehand, was gonna be the killer, and there's a Ghostface Aaron, but, never good enough.
Nope.
So that's what kinda makes it everybody locked down. Then they kinda do the classic Scream thing where curfew happens, which kinda, like, opens up the 3rd act for them to be wandering the streets and no one's around. Even if there's a curfew, man, shouldn't there be cops, like,
You
patrolling?
would think.
It's not like the cops go home too. But anyway, Ghostface is just running around the streets and fucking trying to break in coffee shops and do all this stuff. And we have this whole kind of like showdown where her daughter is trapped in the shop and Sydney's not going to get there in time. And she calls her on her phone and she's kind of guiding her from the office. Like
Oh, that was brutal, dude.
there's a gun in the safe. Hit the safety. Oh, he's behind the wall. Shoot now, type of thing. Shoot him in the head, and she doesn't, and whatever. They kidnap her, and then we have like during that scene, it gave away who the second killer was because the Ghostface got in with the code.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They came like,
Mhm.
well, okay, it's her fucking business partner,
Yeah, mhm.
and I'm like, God dang it! It's just so whatever. There was no shock there, and then the big ending comes, and they've captured her, and they're like, "Oh, this is where we reveal all the AI." Because Sydney catches up and gets there, and she sees all the screens, and they've got all the AI there, and they show Stu. We keep seeing Stu like Max Headroom in this movie, just talking to you from screens,
Mhm.
and then all of a sudden it turns into Scott Foley, then it turns into Laurie Metcalf, and then it turns into Dewey. And my only question is I get why the deep fake of Stu is old, because if you're trying to fool them into thinking Stu never died, he would be old. So you would type in, okay, AI Stu Mocker, but old and fucked up in the face. Okay. Why was Scott Foley old? Scott Foley's like old in his AI. He's clearly like
Yeah,
55-year-old Scott Foley.
yeah.
Like, why would it not be? Why would you be doing that? No one's trying to fool you that Scott Foley's alive. That was just kind of like lazy.
That yeah, no, I agree. Yeah,
And
that doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
Laurie Metcalf was older, but they're like, whatever. They just let her go. But the Scott Foley thing was distracting because he was like clearly a young dude in 3, and
Mhm.
now he's like got bags under his eyes and shit like that.
Yeah.
Dewey looks more or less the same, so that's fine. Well, one thing before we get to the end,
The
we
bar
eliminated
scene.
we totally skipped the bar scene. So Ghostface is there. There's this girl who works there making the pizzas,
Chloe or
and she loves the creepy dude, the podcast dude, and, the Meeks are like, "Oh, isn't it weird they both left into the kitchen at the same time?" Ghostface comes, cuts them up, kills Chloe, kills fucking podcast guy, and then, we pretty much the Sydney's daughter escapes, she runs out, and she gets in the car with her boyfriend, and then I don't know, man. This is a little too on the boyfriend is next in his passenger seat of the
mm.
car is like literally open up a MacBook and it's like him with the AI with him and Stu. I'm like, really? And he's like, I just wanted to see if I could do it. Like you that's what you
He's
wanted
hanging
to
out in the
see?
parking lot trying to do
Like, you think this is the time and place to do that? And also, who would do that?
I don't know.
Like, of course you could do it. We live in that it makes
Yeah.
no sense. Like, everybody's trying to, like everybody first of all, everybody's fingering this guy as a suspect, number 1, because he's the
Yeah.
boyfriend, and you're literally giving people evidence.
Yeah.
You're literally making paper trails, digital footprints
It's
of you
like that's
doing the
like
fucking AI.
Googling something you shouldn't be Googling if you're a suspect.
But this is like 3 times worse because it's literally
Yeah. Yeah.
and she's just like, "Oh, I just wanted to see if I could do it." She beats the fuck out of him with the laptop, and, she ends up circling back to him, and he gets killed in the street before she gets into the coffee shop. Thank goodness, good riddance to that guy.
He didn't
But,
talk
like
about the goofiest death where, the
oh,
podcast guy
you did like the bar, the
yeah, the
tap.
beer
I
tap, dude.
I like that.
That was fun, dude.
That was fun, dude, and there's, like, the beer the foam's coming out, that turns to blood.
Yeah.
That's, like, the silliest scream kill ever.
It is, but it's
But
fun, dude. That's the stuff I like. Yeah.
that's a campy slasher kill.
Yeah.
I've never seen first of all, have you ever seen a bar tap that has, like, a sharp blade point like that?
It
That was
it
just
it wouldn't be hollowed out. I mean, how would the I don't understand how it would come
but I'm
out.
saying, like, the top of it was like a
Yeah.
blade. How convenient. He was able to pick him up and just,
Yeah.
but it was a cool
It was
shot.
fun. Yeah.
And I also like the shot of McKenna Grace when they found her dead, where she's, like, behind those lights and you see, like, her silhouette hanging.
Yeah. No, that was
Because
cool.
because
That
because he
was cool.
deboweled her. He
Yeah.
deboweled her,
Mhm.
and her stuff came out.
So I said
That was
there's 3 good kills in the film, and the rest are just ugh.
Um, anyway, so at the point of the bar, after like meek girl gets sliced on the tummy and
Mhm.
meek guy gets stabbed in the shoulder, you don't see him again.
Yep.
That's it. And then anyway, so Sydney's daughter goes to the car, hits boyfriend with the laptop after he did something fucking stupid that makes no sense, and it's nothing but a forced red herring move by the writing. She runs, and that's when she goes to the coffee shop and all that stuff. So we're in the coffee shop, yeah. And after Sydney gets them to shoot her and she doesn't shoot him in the fucking head like an idiot, they take her hostage. It kind of cuts to black, and Sydney gets there, and this is where our big reveal is going to come from. Like, oh, we're doing it just old school. We're going to tie her up in the front like
Mhm.
fucking Steve. Okay, great. And she's there. And this is where he comes out and he takes off the mask. And I know I usually give bitching and moaning about like oh yeah, right, this girl wouldn't be this strong. I don't buy that this old ass fucking guy was lifting up teenager like this and going, "Oh!" He was too strong, dude.
Who, Ethan
And
Embry?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
old fucking like, ugh, he like lifted up this teenager like nothing, dude, and put his head on that thing. They're just too strong. And if you notice, more so than any movie, like they always have stunt guys in the actual Ghostface costume, more so than any movie where they've never tried harder to make you think it was Stu in there
Oh,
because
yeah.
the Ghostface the guy in the Ghostface costume was tall as shit
Mhm.
and lanky.
Yeah.
Dude, Ethan Embry is like a slunched over fucking 6-year-old now. He's like 5'8". That was bad writing because it's like because they don't. I thought they did a good job with that, like in 5, for example. Um, and then, like, they tried to fake you out again where they're like, "Oh, it was me." Like, "You really thought it was Stu? That's really stupid, don't you think, huh?" I mean, I don't mind that, like, logic because that's what I thought too. Yeah, Stu's fucking dead. But, like, all of a sudden, what happened to it's always
Ethan
somebody
Embry's
in
not 60, by the way, but,
what is he? That hair
uh,
ain't doing him any favors, that Friar Tuck do he's
he's like
rocking, dude.
47, dude.
Oh, he's not in his 50s?
No, he's born in '78, so what would that make him?
Oh, whatever.
Yeah, something.
He don't look good. Anyway,
Well, in the film, yeah, yeah.
so he reveals himself. It's
47,
usually
yeah.
it's somebody supposed to be tied to his past. This is a fucking nobody. Like somebody they just inject in there, like, oh hi, I used to work for Google. That's how I know all this AI stuff. Like, all right,
Mhm.
throwaway fucking
Oh
logic.
god, that was terrible, man.
I used to work for Google, so I know all this AI stuff. Let's
Just
just
because you
throw
were
that in there. And then he goes, "Oh, hi, Stu." And Ghostface number 2 comes out. And this time it's so obviously a girl because she comes in, she's got like girl shoulders, like super weak. It's clearly a girl now.
Kevin Williamson just wanted the bag for this film, dude.
But I'm saying she comes out and not once, so I'm thinking like they were trying to do a double take again, like, oh no, Stu really is here. All the other stuff was AI, but we really do have Stu. And then, but the Ghostface comes out and it's clearly a woman, and she reveals herself. And I guess this is the attachment to her past, the fucking neighbor in her new town,
Yep.
and that was so rushed.
Terrible.
And I'm like, okay, so they established for half a second when they were drinking coffee at the shop that, oh yeah, when I was going through my marriage troubles, haha, like that throwaway line. Okay, and the whole thing is when you ran away and you didn't go to New York in part 6, you ran away because they make it seem like she took her kids and went somewhere secluded.
Mhm.
You left me alone to suffer my divorce, and I killed my husband, and you weren't there. Like my friend, what? Like, and then I got committed, and then it,
Oh,
it,
yeah,
it
they're
was
both that's where she met Ethan Embry.
she got committed and met Ethan Embry, who apparently I guess used to work for Google, but then he got a job at a fucking mental institution as a fucking guard. I don't know. It's like what? An orderly? Uh anyway, that was the big fucking connection. A neighbor that we just found out existed that she lives next to in her new town.
Mhm.
That to be fair, she's probably lived in this town for a while in like Scream years. But her whole thing was, "You didn't go to New York. Instead, you ran away and left me, and I dealt with my trauma, and I got so inspired by your book about dealing with the
It's
trauma,
terrible, dude. It
and,
is a terrible reason, man.
I killed my husband,
And
and,
she is the worst Ghostface, dude.
and
Out
they
of any Ghostface, she is the worst.
and she killed her own son, like, "Oh, he was too much." I mean, that goes a little
Yeah.
hard, dude. She killed her own son. I guess that's kinda
Uh,
hard. But, yeah, I 100% agree. She is the fucking her I don't know. I look, I really hate the 6 killers too, but at
I'll take the 6
least
killers any
listen
day
to
over
me.
these.
At least the 6 killers, they put effort into kinda tying them in to the
Yeah.
mythos. It's stupid, but it's like, okay, it all connects back to Richie and they're finishing his movie and all. Okay,
Yeah.
at least there's like something. Ethan Embry's a nobody that used to work at Google. And literally he dies in 2 seconds. They just blast him in the head.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
like he's literally a nobody. okay, so we keep forgetting that Ghostface 1, the fucking the crazy dude, which he's
Mhm.
the best Ghostface in the movie.
Yeah,
We don't even know
yeah,
we don't even know who the fuck he did all those cool kills.
yeah.
The fucking crazy guy that just, like, we barely learned his name at the
He did,
penitentiary.
yeah, he was the best Ghostface.
Yeah, he did the intro, he did the girl and the
Yeah,
hanging and the fucking I'm like, "Okay." But as far as Ethan yeah, so I don't know, he's weird because he technically, he'll go down as an official Ghostface, technically.
yeah,
The only difference is he just died in the middle of the movie, which is
mhm.
not that's the only thing it's not but technically, he could have survived later. Um, but whatever that guy's fucking name is, I'm gonna give him props. He's okay. I kinda like the idea of, a random crazy guy someone manipulated into, like a wind-up toy just to fucking kill. That's kinda
That's
cool.
fine, it's fine, yeah.
But you have to have the fucking puppet masters be cool.
Well, yeah,
Um,
and Jessica is not the puppet master,
no,
let me tell you that.
I don't know who I hate worse. Ethan Embry would have been okay as, like, grunt number 2 to Jessica. If Jessica's the mastermind, we get it. They both, like Ethan Embry, like, wound up the fucking crazy dude from the penitentiary. That's fine. I kinda like that. And then but he was just like the wind up toy to Jessica, who's supposed to be the mastermind. Whatever. He's kinda like the stew, I guess, and he's so empty. We don't know anything about him besides he worked at Google. It's so fucking stupid and
Well,
throw away.
Ethan
But
Embry and, like, The Devil's Candy or, like, some of his older films, he would've been great, but the way they made him in this film, it just ruined his character,
But
I
her as
really
a mastermind,
yeah,
weak
she's
as
terrible.
fuck,
She's
and so,
absolutely bad.
I think they're both equally bad, but because she's supposed to be the mastermind and the
Yeah,
connection to Sydney, she's worse.
she is,
Like,
yeah.
because if she was actually a good mastermind, okay, well, then we can give it a pass.
Mhm.
Like, and then she's, like, playing both these 2 g playing one guy because he's crazy, playing the other guy 'cause she probably, like, played with his heart or a little bit, whatever, that's fine, but they were all fucking stupid, and her motives were absolutely ridiculous, and nobody had any real Scream movies are about, like, movie motives, and it's also about, like, movies and the screen none of it was about she was just mad because Sydney left her
Left town.
during 6
Yeah.
and left her to deal with trauma
Her
of her
husband that
being
divorced
abusive or
her.
whatever.
Yeah, or what yeah.
I'm like, "That's weak." It has nothing to do with stab, but they tried to inject some of that Scream philosophy in that last scene. "Oh, no, it's all about, nostalgia now. That's why I brought back Stu." I'm like, "We're just gonna do that." No, what? It because usually when they have something to beat on for a Scream movie, we would have been hearing about nostalgia throughout the whole movie.
Yeah.
Literally, this did not that's what made it not feel like a Scream movie, and, yeah, I just but at the end of the day, all of the Stu stuff meant nothing. It was, I don't maybe I'd have to ask the fans if you guys are like hardcore Stu fans and all this shit and hardcore Scream people, were you guys satisfied with the amount of screen time Matthew Lillard got when he's always like shown on a screen? And what do you guys think about him just being like AI? I don't personally care. I didn't want Stu to be alive. I thought that was stupid.
Yeah. I
I
don't need
I
Stu to
could
be
have
alive.
I could have forgiven the cheesiness and the AI because
It
in
is
concept,
way too cheesy though, dude.
very cheesy. But in theory and concept, I was ready to buy into the AI thing. I'm like, okay, that's it's of the time. It's bound to happen, Todd. Like,
Oh,
if
I agree, I agree.
the Scream franchise is going on this long, the technology's they're finally gonna catch up with technology and start using AI. I knew it was gonna happen eventually. So, I was ready to, like, buy into it. It's like, "Whatever, okay." But I wanted the real fucking killers to really hold some weight. I wanted they kept selling this movie like there was gonna be a big reveal, and it was gonna close a chapter, and it was just not only was it just another Scream movie, it was the weakest fucking reveal of
Terrible.
all of them.
Yeah.
And first of all, this I mean, I know she's like, what's the girl Ghostface in this? What's her name?
Jessica?
Jessica. I know I'll give it a little bit of a pass because it was a girl on a girl, but she seemed overtly strong throwing around Sydney, dude. Like,
Oh, yeah.
these ghost faces are all hopped up on fucking ketamine or meth or something, dude, because they're insane with their strength. But Mark, the husband, didn't die. I mean, like, I kind of liked it. He got roughed up enough. I'm okay with that. And he helped save the day, right? Because what did he do? He was like he pulled out a
He
knife when he
pulled out
was
a
laying there.
knife and did nothing.
Oh, and nothing happened with it
No.
because she shot
Yeah.
Ethan, and then like yeah, from what I know, they just her and the other girl just rumbled and they took it to the house.
Mhm.
Yeah, I guess nothing happened with that.
The
But what
daughter ended up shooting
the daughter came and shot.
yeah.
Yeah, and well, And then they both came out and did, like, the Scream 2 and blasted her to death,
Yeah,
and they just took her face off, which is kinda fun, but,
yeah,
again, it's like, I feel like they were compensating, like, "Well, after this weak-ass twist, we gotta give him a really gory end, like,
mhm,
blow half of her fucking face off." So I'm like, "Okay." I was kinda waiting for them to give a line because she kept saying, like, "Shoot her in the head." I thought she was gonna say something like, "Yeah, that'll do it." I thought they were gonna say something because they literally took off her fucking face, dude.
yeah, yeah.
Um which, by the way, were they both rocking magnums? What the fuck were they blasting her face off? And also, how is that she's never fired a gun in her life, and
Yeah,
she's not getting her
she would
ass knocked off.
she wouldn't have hit a broadside of a barn.
She wouldn't hit a broadside of a barn, she
Yeah,
would've fell on her ass.
yeah, yeah,
But that you kinda have to just that's the way all these movies have been. Sydney knows how to handle a gun right away in fucking Scream 1. That's just like movie logic. But yeah, I that was the biggest thing about this movie that drove me absolutely batshit was they didn't live up to what they were selling, that it was gonna be like a big event somehow, and it had because wasn't that kinda like the whole selling thing, taglines, like, kinda more or less, "It ends where it begins," you know? They were really selling as if Stu was real,
oh,
and
yeah, but it didn't work. Yeah,
none of it really ended where anything began. These
no,
fuckers had nothing to do with Sydney,
yeah,
besides her being a fucking clingy neighbor.
mhm,
And, here we are. We basically got Halloween H40 because now her daughter's alive, and Sydney's alive,
and
and
s
we're just gonna have
everybody's alive.
what are they gonna do? What are they gonna do in 2 years when they have another movie?
Well, what they
Wha
should do is they should just scrap this and pretend it never happened and bring back Melissa Barrera, is what they should
I
do.
feel like I feel like the only way to I don't know how they keep making this, fresh for the audience, but, obviously, Sydney going away in 6 was an easy in for this one to be fresh by bringing Sydney back, and they did the whole fucking AI thing, and they fooled everybody, with Matthew Lillard. But what do they do again? Now we're gonna be on 8. It's like, God, what are you gonna do this time? Like, all you could do now is, okay, just like pulling Nev Campbell, bring Sam back, throw some money at her and bring her back to make it fresh. And,
Well, they
I
need to.
just
They
don't
shouldn't have. I mean, they shouldn't have messed it up because I mean, those weren't great. Like I do like 5. They're not perfect films, 5 and 6, but they're a hell of a lot more fun than this piece of shit, my opinion. So,
what did you think about, your daytime soap opera guy, Mark Consuega, or whatever the hell his name is?
oh god, dude, as the newscaster
The
or
local
whatever.
news guy
Yeah,
trying to make his big break.
yeah. Yeah,
He
yeah,
didn't
like he would be making his big break, dude. I mean, just look at the guy. I mean, he's chiseled, dude. He looks great. I mean, he'd be
he'd
on the
be
news in
national
a
news.
yeah, he'd be on the news in a second, dude.
But he was kind of a big nothing burger.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, they were trying to throw in so many characters to give red herrings, and, like, to me, he was, like, so weak, like, he's not fooling anybody, he didn't really amount to anything, but yeah, like you said, Gail, after 30 years, got her interview and put her live on air trying to call out Stu to
Mhm.
call in, and, Gail being Gail
That was
made a fuck
dumb, dude. That whole sequence was stupid. With,
sh
"Oh, let's get Stu to call in on live television." I
he's
mean,
like, "Maybe he
come
hasn't
on.
tuned yet, let's keep going," and then Gail digs deep and starts asking these questions about her kids on live air. I'm like, "Yeah," which is not cool. It's like, "God, are you
Yeah,
guys friends or are you not friends?"
I know.
And she walks off, and then that tells us that she's a piece of shit, but then Gail's excuse is, "Look, you disappeared. People wanna know where you went. I wanna know." She's like, "Well, how would you like it if I brought up Dewey?" "I think about Dewey 500 times a day." And she goes and walks to her purse and takes a fucking Xanax.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and it's okay, but how does that justify
I know.
her putting her on live TV and railroading her about her kids,
I
saying her
know.
kids' names and shit like that on the air? I'm like, I didn't
You're
understand any
talking
of it.
about minors, you're not talking about Dewey, who is
I didn't
yeah,
understand any of it.
yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
understand, like, I really didn't get Gail's motives at all in this movie.
No.
Um,
She's a nothing burger, shouldn't be in the movie.
how did this end with her saying, "You want me to drive you to the hospital?" I'd love that. That was it, right?
Yep, yep.
Was she gonna write a book?
That's what my wife said, she just, like, shows up at the end, and like, "Oh, Gail's back." She's hanging out in the newsroom for the whole time.
And she had a couple of, like, funny little quips, like, "Get the fuck out of my face, fuckface," or whatever, to Mark Consuega or whatever his name is. I can never say his name
Yeah.
right. She actually had the funny lines in the movie. It was
Mm.
they gave her, like, the punchy lines. But that's kinda all she was kinda comic relief for me, and the running over, the Ben Tramer, which is like it was all, like, funny.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know. Uh, it doesn't change my rating because we have to give our ratings again. Because not necessarily people, you guys might not have watched our spoiler-free version of this, but I still think I put it in 4th place. But like I said, that that's not like a high bar. All I'm saying is it's better than 3. I will put it as of right now, I put it over 4 because I think 4 has its own weird character about it,
It's
but
a
it does have
darker
a
tone for
but
it.
it's got a blandness that I
It
hate.
does have a blandness. No, I agree,
I don't
100%.
and it does kinda feel like
I would take the
3
blandness. I'd take the more mean-spirited film over this one.
3 feels like it was a WB film, feels like
Yes.
an episode of Seventh Heaven. 4 feels like a Lifetime movie. It's got, like,
Yeah,
a
a little
weird
bit, yeah.
Lifetime thing going, but I don't absolutely hate 4, but and you know what? I told you I wasn't gonna change my mind. Now you got me rethinking 6, because I put it behind 5. You're right, though, in that 6 is more fun.
Oh, it's more fun, yeah. It's not perfect by any means. There's a lot of shit that happens in it, but it's in New York City, they got a lot going on. They have a lot of different scenes, like going to
I
parties, like, going across or going to high-rise apartments, all that stuff. It's like, I don't know, a lot of
Yeah,
different
it
sets.
moves around a little bit more,
Yeah.
tell you what, I am gonna budge a little bit and say I'm gonna tie it with 6.
Okay.
But I still put 5. I do like the way 7 looks. I don't have a problem with that. I think cinematography's
Yeah, it
good.
doesn't look bad.
I think it looks good. I don't mind it being confined to a small town. It's kinda cool, kinda works. The biggest crime is that it faked us out. If you're gonna fake us out and give us a twist, it needs to be a bigger than what we expected. Don't fucking flounder it and trick people into thinking it's something way bigger and it's gonna close these circles, and you're trying to fool people, like legacy people are coming back like Stu, and you literally give us the worst fucking killers. I was scared that was gonna happen. I
They
was
give us the
scared as
worst
me.
killers, they give us the worst, characters 'cause all the characters suck in my opinion. That's why I would say 3 is the worst and this is the 2nd worst. I think this is
But the new characters that were established in 6 suck too.
who?
All the characters that are new in 6 suck as well.
They suck,
The twins came from 5.
they're a lot more memorable than these kids.
The twins came from 5, Jenna Ortega and Sam came from 5. The people that were established in 6, they were terrible too, like the
R
2 sibling
Ri
killers,
Richie's brother,
family.
family, I think they're more memorable than these kids.
Well, like I said, there's nothing memorable about these kids either, but I I don't know. I'm just trying to say the good and the bad because you have to say good things about it. We can't just hate something, and
I don't hate it. I
the
really
good
like
thing
the intro. I
I
like some of
like
the 3 kills. I
I
like the
like the way it
yeah,
looks, I like the vibe,
yeah,
it had some good gore in it. Um,
yeah.
I don't know if I totally absolutely hated Sydney in this. She was alright, I guess. Her acting, I don't know. I I don't know. Her fucking but yeah, but the bad, I didn't like the new people. I thought her daughter was miscast. I like that actress. I just wasn't buying her in this role. Yeah, the boyfriend's fucking forgettable. The fucking podcast guy, all right. I hate all the forced red herrings they threw in this fucking movie.
Mhm.
And I hate, like you said, even the returning characters. Like, why do we put the Meeks in this?
And I like the Meeks, but yeah, they have no business being in this movie.
Why do they put them in this? And even Gail didn't serve any purpose. If you're
No,
like you said, she didn't have any purpose. Like there's no Dewey. Um, I guess she was trying to cover yet another story,
just gotta
but
get her interview with Sydney.
I just
Give it up,
yeah,
Gail.
some of this stuff is forgivable if they just gave us a better wrap up, dude. I think it's terrible when they promise. Literally, the marketing was, "It ends where it begins." Hello, Sydney. It was
Well, the
fun.
trailer was
Oh,
great, dude.
and burning down fucking Stu Macher's house, like really trying to
Doing
fool
that
you
in the
into think.
opening scene, you can't do that in the opening scene, man. That should be the ending of the film.
But it was a lame duck. It
Yeah,
was
yeah.
literally
Uh-huh.
some fucking guy we've never heard of before that had no relation to Sydney that just so happened to used to work at Google, but now he works as like a fucking what do you call those guys? What was Ben Stiller?
Orderly?
orderly, been they check out the name tag, grandma. You're in my world now. Yeah, and now he's an orderly at a mental institution, and
A tremendous
I
looking trophy.
there is, just too many conveniences for the plot and writing, like I said, Gale is a fucking investigative reporter. They're just gonna talk to one guy at the hospital, and they're just gonna take his word for it. They're not gonna dig in a little deeper into John because he gave him this whole story. Oh, he wandered off the street. He tried hurting a teenager, and he went to trial again? Like, this is separate than Scream.
So he's a John Doe that went to trial.
He said he was a John Doe, he wandered in, and he said, "Oh, he ended up hurting a teenager, and he went to trial, but he was, uh, basically, he was deemed inept." And I'm like, "What?" It's so confusing, but I'm saying with the information he gave him, they didn't wanna do more digging on this guy?
Yeah.
All it literally would have taken was to question one more person at the hospital they're already at.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. Anyway, yeah. Uh, fuck it, 6 out of 10.
You're gonna come down in years to come, you'll come down to a 4 like me. But, I wanna know what you guys think. So you go see it, still go see it. I wanna know. I could be dead wrong, so
Todd grades on a weird
I
scale.
do. I do agree on a weird scale.
You graded, like, in a bubble of, like, okay, we're talking about Scream movies.
Yes, I
I
do.
I grade all these slasher movies on a different, broader scale of, look, I just wanna be entertained enough. I want kills. I just want, like, "Oh, jump scare." I'm not, like, it's not make or break for me with a Scream movie. Like, I'm not looking to be inspired, like, "Oh god,
Well, I'm not
I wanna
either, but I mean,
I
this
wanna go write the next Scream movie now." No,
definitely
it's never
wasn't
been like
it was below entertainment, like,
they're
I'll
just
yeah.
popcorn movies. The only one that's truly a marvel is the first movie. That's it. Where it's actually
Yeah.
groundbreaking and
Yeah.
important and
Mhm.
like, "Wow, this is fucking new.
Sure.
This is fresh." That's it. So, that's it. But yeah, so me, I guess I'm right smack dab in the middle. We'll tie it with 6. Todd has it right just a hair above 3,
Yep.
which is whoo, that's pretty low.
4 to 10.
Um, I'm surprised they didn't AI Randy.
Oh,
Then
yeah.
they would have been able to get away with that, bringing back Jamie Kennedy's fat ass
That would
now, like
be
wispy hair.
hysterical, man.
Hey, Sid." Like, because they weren't de-aging anybody. Like, why would we have a fat fucking old Randy, dude? He looks like he's got jaundice now, fucking Jamie Kennedy.
He's hysterical, though, still.
But I wonder if he's offended he didn't get the call.
Oh, I
Like,
would be.
how come I wasn't
I
in
want the
this?
bag.
Yeah. All right. I wonder if, Matthew Lillard, by the way, was happy. He seemed like so I thought they said Matthew Lillard signed on for 3 films.
Oh, he
A
better not have. I mean,
unless, like I said, unless that was a red herring, because 'cause I'm like, he's just AI, he's on a screen.
they're gonna make him like some sort of like synthetic next.
Yeah, I think that was a lie. I think it was a red herring, and he's so excited to be back in the screen fold.
Gotta sell
Yeah, I
that
basically
baka.
he did a day's worth. He didn't even do a day's worth of work.
No.
He came in just like Eddie Furlong doing the mocap for his little PS2, PS3 version of him getting killed in
Mhm.
Terminator Dark Fate. He came in there, they literally like recorded him on a cell phone. I'm like, okay, act crazy and say these 3 lines that are gonna appear in the film. "Hey, Sydney, la, la, la.
Yeah.
I always had a thing for you, Sid, which again, how do they know he said that in real life? Unless Sydney straight up told the people making Stab, "Yeah, and then Stu, when he had me on top of me, he said, 'I always had a thing for you, Sid.'" Yeah, because Gail didn't hear that.
I'm starting to think Quentin Tarantino is maybe right.
Oh, you're gonna piss people off, dude. People
I'm
love
just kidding, guys. I'm
you're gonna
kidding.
make Matthew Lillard cry.
I'm kidding, guys. I
He's like,
love Stu. I love
"It
Stu.
really, really sucks because I would love to be in a QT movie. It really, really sucks." All right, guys. Anyway, let us know what you think. That's the most interesting thing to me is I want to know how everybody else felt about the film. Did it live up to your expectations? Did it not? Did it exceed them by chance? What did you think about the cast? Where do you feel that we were wrong? Leave them in the comments below. But also, after the weekend passes and everybody's had enough opportunity to see it at least opening weekend, we're gonna do a stream. I don't know if that's gonna go down Monday or what. Actually, it's gotta happen Monday. Unless it's late
Yeah.
Tuesday, 'cause I got
Yeah.
but we'll figure it out. We're gonna have a stream where I just want you guys to all join the chat, and we'll talk more. We'll duke it out, and I wanna hear what you guys think. Change our minds.
Mhm.
Maybe you guys will. Some of you guys are super hardcore, man, and I can't wait to hear I feel like some of you guys are gonna be pissed because you guys have, like, dug all these crazy holes about,
Mhm.
"Oh, Stu was around in 5." Some of you guys are literally saying Stu was actually in 5. Stu was like I think Stu killed Dewey in 5. Like, all this crazy
Yeah.
stuff, like, again with
Down
the
the
George
rabbit
Lucas
hole. Yeah.
again with the George Lucasing thing that, just injecting shit in there, but, like, we don't even have Stu in this one.
Mm-mm.
I'm really genuinely curious to see if you guys were upset about that or what. But, let us know, and we'll let you know, tune in for that live stream. We'll catch you later. Bye.